You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The ecosystem approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. This election was shocking to many people. There are so many things that didn't make sense. There is a huge gap in perception between the winners and the losers. Is there a perspective that can be hopeful? And what does an individual do now? Is there hope for the future? What specifically can an individual do? We'll talk about a perspective and how to assess true leadership and what is necessary for it to come forward. We are married intuitives with over 25 years experience who created the ecosystem approach. This is a groundbreaking way to see yourself in the age of Aquarius. We help you unleash healing and potential that is unknown today and is totally unique to you personally. This is not your typical type of energy work. We help you with life-changing internal discovery that is powerful, rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, what is the big perspective regarding this election?
The election represents change to the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
And the transition period where there is learning that happens. In other words, this is the beginning of the age of Aquarius, and this is the transition period. In this physical existence, learning happens by making mistakes and trying out new approaches and to see what's wrong and making a correction. Humanity in the collective culture of the United States is learning to be present in the energy of the age of Aquarius. But it's like a little kid. It's struggling, making mistakes and trying out new ways of living, being, and governing ourselves.
Okay. So you have an example here.
You know, we went to visit our grandkids this weekend, and we saw that one was 1 and the other one was 3.
Yes, 3. Gonna be 4 soon.
And you know, they would try out behaviors and see how mom and dad reacted.
Well, and especially
manipulation.
Yes, and especially when there was a lot of people around and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and they had spent a lot of time with grandma and grandpa. They call us new grandma and grandpa, but they were trying to figure out what their place was, how they can work us. You know, which is really easy, especially for someone else. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But and just physically, our grandson who's 1, you know, he's running around, running into things, falling over, that sort of thing, and then he just picks himself up and tries again.
Exactly. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
So if you want the perspective for the election, the idea is that this is the age of Aquarius. It's brand new change. This age is over 2,000 years. So these years is from in perspective to the age of Aquarius is really a small portion of it.
Exactly.
So the next 4 years, even though it may seem like an eternity for some, and depending on what happens and who's who and how this affects you directly.
Yes.
The truth is, from the big perspective, it's just a way for us to learn collectively that we haven't been able to do up to now.
Okay. Well, how does the election square with the age of Aquarius then?
The age of Aquarius is about individual freedom and greater democracy and social structures that serve the collective. Of course, it's a legitimate question. How does that fit in with this election? You know, it doesn't seem to make sense. But I'm confident that for our country and culture, we are learning collectively by making mistakes and trying out different ways of living and governing ourselves.
Okay.
You know, and I know that there's a legitimate argument to be made to say there are a lot of immigration, you know, we want to be human to immigrants on one hand. On the other hand, it's almost uncontrollable how they're coming in and
That is
the
correct.
amount
Well,
and the strain on services and that sort of thing.
exactly. And then there's healthcare.
That there's healthcare.
Yes.
Yes, healthcare hasn't gotten any better. In fact, sometimes you could say it's gotten worse.
Correct.
There's some of the major issues were inflation and the economy, and a lot of that. I always, I'm not an economist, but I took econ in college, and just enough to be stupid. But I know that the president doesn't have a lot to do with inflation.
No.
And so that was a big issue.
Yeah.
Which didn't make sense to me, that why it was such a big issue in the presidential election. But a little known aspect of Aquarius is the way it creates change. And it's often chaotic and often explosive. It is never subtle, elegant, or smooth or easy.
Right.
It's huge change, and it's rebellious. It's we're going to do it this way. I don't care what you think.
Right.
And you kind of see that kind of playing out here also.
That's true. That's true. Well, Jason, then what are we trying to learn here?
We need to use and develop our refined intuition to see motives and to accurately assess behaviors. Having intuition and being a good judge of character does not happen naturally. And we're seeing this out in the world, that collectively people can't see other people's motives.
No.
That sort of thing.
No.
And we see it all the time. When we go out in the world, we don't wear a t-shirt that says we're intuitives. And so we know these things. We just present ourselves like normal people, and we're normally very supportive of others and happy but we see that there are certain people that we say, oh my gosh, I don't want to go there.
Yes. And that's what, yes.
And we see that other people around us don't understand that. Like, it's not that we're judgy. It's just that if we see someone that for whatever reason, we question their motives, their approach, who they are, how they are.
Right.
We're just friendly and cordial, and then back away.
Yes. And usually, or I'll say often, those people that we basically just back away from, they, if they actually knew what we do, they wouldn't want to have anything to do with this. But because our energy is so unlike everybody else's,
it's very positive,
because we've been using the ecosystem approach, what happens is these people, they not only want to be next to us, they don't want to let us go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can create, I wouldn't say an issue. That's not the right word I'm looking for, but it can create a situation where we don't want to be the bad guy, but we also don't want somebody to take all of our energy.
A lot of people, and this sounds, it's not meant to sound conceited, but a lot of people want to be our friends.
A lot of people.
And we don't want to be theirs. And it's, we don't want to, in other words, we can be cordial and nice up to a point, but we don't want to go take it any further.
Yes.
And people, people are lonely, and they, especially around here, a lot of retired people, that sort of thing.
Yes, very lonely.
They're not busy, they're bored.
Yeah.
And they want to be our friends, and it doesn't normally work.
Right.
So here's an understanding of what works and what doesn't is a result of judgment, wisdom, astute perceptions that is missing today.
Yeah.
So why is it missing? How are those traits developed? It's not a normal learning process. Judgment, astute perceptions. Most people think you either have it or you don't.
Right.
We see clearly that training humans to be machines. Like we're all trained to focus on the goal, get
the job done,
rev up the machine,
yes.
Be more productive, more productive. But we see that it dulls them and reduces their innate powers of intuition, judgment, and wisdom.
Right.
So,
well, wait a minute. You also have another example here.
We're constantly surprised by people who are famous or have a following, experts and pundits, that have been elevated by their followers because they're so popular.
Right.
We say, oh my gosh, why is that person popular? It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh my gosh,
Right.
you know, even people chosen to be spokespeople in the political realm. I
Yes.
think some people say, oh my gosh, that person shouldn't be a spokesperson.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and they have energy that's a red flag. It's been always obvious to Patricia and I, but about their motives, their authenticity, their sincerity. But these people are still famous or have a following or are elevated.
Right.
We don't get it. And we see that collectively, there's such a low level ability to distinguish and discern good energy from bad energy.
Correct.
Especially consciously.
So, Jason, what is the conclusion of this segment?
This election is the beginning stages of the Age of Aquarius, which lasts over 2,000 years.
Okay.
This beginning is a time of learning and significant change. The Age of Aquarius is a time of greater democracy and personal freedom, but recent election results seem to represent just the opposite. The people are responding to these energy changes like a child which is learning to walk. There are metaphoric spills and falls that are inevitable during this great time of change.
Correct.
The major lesson is to learn about leadership and evaluating others in a way that sees their true motives, not the image they project to the world, but their true nature. We are learning to identify true leadership and how we can act collectively for the best interest of all.
Okay. In the next segment, we're going to talk about one of the biggest lessons with this election and the introduction about natural leadership and how that is needed going forward. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about about one of the biggest lessons with this election and an introduction about natural leadership and how that is needed going forward. What is the lessons of this election? Notice it was plural.
Yes.
There. Okay.
Humanity is learning to see others, their energies, and their motives more clearly. It's all too common to believe the external presentation, which is often contrived and phony.
Yes.
In other words, if we've been doing this for over 25 years. People come to us and they get mad because they were passed off by on a promotion.
Correct.
And usually it's because the other person was better at self-promotion. It wasn't necessarily that they were better in terms of their performance. It was better at their ability to promote themselves.
Yeah.
Or they created a relationship with the boss that served them at that point. And people can get really bitter about that. But I've seen it, having been in the corporate world for a while and then going into this, but I see that it happens all the time.
Yes.
And it's not really about who's the best. It's about who sells themselves the most, creates a presentation about who they are.
Correct.
And how that works.
Yes.
But here's the part of it that we see. There's a lot of denial and beliefs that don't add up or are illogical. That was part of the election. There are, this doesn't matter. This isn't a big deal. Oh, this is just overblown, that sort of thing. And we see, and we created this term, refined intuition, which is intuition that has been uncovered by removing negative energy attached to a person. Now, our intuition, you knew you had intuition ever since you were a child, but you were shamed about it, and your mother said not to use it.
Don't ever tell anyone what you see.
I was always considered sensitive, but I never really thought of myself as having intuition. But when we started doing this process and started removing negative energy, both of our intuition has just exploded.
Exactly.
And the refinement that we're talking about is not only do we see things more clearly, that our intuition is more robust, but we're able to discern
That's a good one.
good from bad,
Yes, that's a good one. Yes.
crap from not crap. So it's part of the lessons, and we need individual development, or what we call evolution, so we can support leaders in an authentic way based on clarity and perceptions that are at a higher level and more astute.
Correct.
We can't just follow someone because they've been famous before, or they were on a TV show.
Well, we've been trained, we've been programmed. That's who you follow.
Yes.
But the truth is, with this age of Aquarius coming in, all of us, not just a few of us, but all of us are going to start to doubt the way we've done things in the past, or how we came to conclusions in the past.
Well, exactly. And both sides were using star power.
Yes, they
to
were.
promote their campaign.
Yes.
And the truth is, because you're a famous actor or actress doesn't necessarily mean you know anything about politics or what's happening here. But that, it was more of a popularity contest.
Correct.
And we need the perceptions to choose leaders based on intuition and wisdom, so that the best become leaders.
Right. Well, how do the followers evolve to be more aware, to be able to see the best leaders?
The ecosystem approach was designed to help people see themselves more clearly, and then their own motivation. We know that for a fact with ourselves.
Right.
We see our motives more clearly. We see who we are more clearly. And when you first see how to perceive yourself with more, that's less distorted, that has more perception, it allows you to see how other people are distorting their perceptions of themselves, and when they're not authentic.
Right.
It's people sometimes, if they hear us, we usually say it to just each other. When we hear it sounds very judgy. It's not meant to be judgy. It's meant to, we're using our intuition, saying, let's evaluate that person. Who is that person really? What are they doing?
Right. What's their motive?
Yes.
And
constantly removing negative energy allows self-perception to explode and increase.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's not something you can take a class in. It's not something you can sit and think and say, I'm going to figure myself out. It doesn't work that way. And oh, by the way, if you've ever told your parents, I need a year off to go find myself, don't have them talk to us, because we would say geography doesn't help with that.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm not being cynical. It can be a positive experience.
Well, yes, don't misunderstand, but the bottom line is that if you've just gotten out of college and I need a year to find myself, first off, look at what your motives are. We'll start with that one. But the other thing is don't lie about you want an adventure, you want to walk about.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I think that can be really beneficial.
Right.
So and we use the Enneagram as a tool. The Enneagram is a great tool to see the negative energy that's attached to you. It's not about knowing who you are. It's about seeing the negative energy.
Right.
And then we use the natal chart in astrology to understand the frame of the person, who they are authentically. We've seen so many people that say, oh my gosh, I just understand my Enneagram type, but I'm learning because I've been clearing negative energy. That's not me at all.
Yes.
And that my natal chart is more me. And I've never been like that. And it's because it's been suppressed and blocked. It can be
trained.
Really, yes.
Yes. Or programmed, we could say. So
a populace attracted to an authoritarian leader does not have confidence in the collective wisdom of the group. They say, well, I can't trust my neighbor over there to make a good choice, so I need someone to tell us what to do, because we can't do it on our own.
Right.
They are basically saying, you take care of my life. I can't do it on my own. Political correctness, which is on the other side, or authoritarianism does not help people evolve or be better. Evolution helps people be better, and that comes from removing negative energy.
That is correct. So, Jason, how to evaluate leadership in a better way for everyone?
We coined this term. We actually we own the domain. I don't know if you know what that means, but
I do.
Yeah, we own the domain.
Yeah.
And natural leadership, and a key ingredient of natural leadership is the need for followers to be evolved and to be able to see their own motives and the motives of the leaders.
Right.
Natural leadership requires that It's not about the leader as much as it is about the people that are elevating that leader
Correct.
to a leadership position.
Correct.
In democratic structures, the best among us are seen and elevated into leadership, not those who are effective at self-promotion or lead by force or intimidation or create a contrived reputation that lacks real substance.
Yes.
Ruthless leaders who lack human compassion and true empathy would never survive as a natural leader.
Yes. So, Jason, then explain, what is natural leadership?
Leaders who are chosen by the followers, but those followers have to be evolved enough so that that choice can be based on but not only their evolution, but the leader's evolution.
Correct.
Everyone is in basic agreement about those who should lead in a particular situation, and sometimes others are pressed into service for other areas of expertise. So, in other words, if you have evolved followers, you may say, well, this person needs to lead over here about this topic.
Okay, yes.
But we need this person over here to lead on this topic.
Correct.
And everybody agrees, and it happens, and there's not as much friction, jealousy, which is a form of negative energy, and competition that there is in today's world.
Correct.
So the structure is very flat, and leaders come and go based on demands. Natural leaders do not covet leadership, but authentically see it as a calling or a service that they are truly humbled by the responsibility.
Correct.
When others who have true abilities in other areas, they can easily relinquish command to others with true abilities.
Well, okay. Give us an example about this.
Think of a group of evolved people where leadership is rotated based on the needs of the group in the moment. The structure is very flat. Leaders come and go based on demands. The most evolved, wise, and competent people are pressed into service, but that changes as others come forward with more specific or greater skills or wisdom.
Sure.
This is truly an aspirational example and rarely happens in the world today. I'm sorry to say.
Yes.
But natural leadership is something we need to aspire to, as opposed to the leadership that we have now.
And I need to say this. I know we're going to cover a little bit of it in the next segment, but when you start removing negative energies, you gain a clarity about who you are, and you also have the ability to then change your perspective on how you even think about a certain subject.
Yeah.
In other words, your perspective broadens as opposed to narrowing.
Yes.
It's huge. So, Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
The big lessons about this election will be about leadership, evaluating leaders and seeing through the presentation and blusters to see the real motives of leaders.
Correct.
The way to evaluate leaders and others requires the removal of negative energy, which blocks intuition and accurate perceptions. True evolution, which we teach with the ecosystem approach, is not a result of a normal learning process. It's an energy process where negative energy is removed to develop what we call refined intuition. As those who are being led evolve, the possibility of natural leadership is possible. That is the result of an evolved group that have removed enough negative energy to choose the best leaders who are the most evolved and have true wisdom and are worthy of leadership. This learning is a result of true evolution and removing negative energy from many people. This is the basis for the ecosystem approach.
That's exactly right. So in the next segment, we're going to talk about how to bring about the promise of the Age of Aquarius of greater democracy and personal freedom when it seems like we're going in the opposite way. Oh my gosh. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the promise of the Age of Aquarius of greater democracy and personal freedom when it seems like we're going the opposite way right now. So, Jason, what are the barriers to greater democracy?
When groups of people have views about life that are so diverse and radically different, and not based on common accepted ideas, then it's hard to come together. When one side knows what God wants and what the rules are from God, they just know that, and there's no possibility for discussion. At the same time, when caring for the earth and the environment and creating racial equality comes from education, which is a form of programming, there is competition to be the programmer.
Correct.
And whoever is the programmer gets to influence influence others in ways that are really powerful. It creates difficulty coming together because no amount of discussion can overcome these both flawed beliefs.
Okay, I need you to go back,
Okay.
if you don't mind,
Yep.
Jason. When one side believes it knows what God wants, could you just elaborate on that just a little bit? Because I don't think people are understanding what you mean by that.
Well, we have someone close to us who's very religious, and they just say, well, this happened because God wanted it.
Oh, yeah.
They're saying that to us all the time about little things and big things,
yes,
and that sort of thing. And when we use our intuition, our refined intuition, we don't see that at all.
Yes.
And even when we believe in God,
absolutely,
we definitely have this belief in God. When we talk to God, when we go directly to God, which is the way everybody should do it, not based on what you're taught.
Correct. In other words, you don't have to go through someone who says they're holier than you.
Yes.
Okay.
Then you can do that, and as you remove negative energy and refine your intuition, that connection becomes more robust. It has more wisdom and more knowledge,
and it gives you a greater understanding when you stop and take a breath and go, oh, I can actually see things. I was talking about it in the last segment. I can see things from a broader perspective. So that means I have more information that I can see and understand and work with.
And to be fair, that goes both ways.
Yes, it does.
When you're taught in school about ecology and preserving the earth and
correct,
and preserving ecosystems,
yes,
it's not the place that you should understand it. We understand ecosystems innately.
Yes.
That's why we created the ecosystem approach, because we removed all this negative energy. When we go into into nature, we feel it. It talks to us.
Yes.
We don't have to read a book. We don't have to have someone tell us. We don't have to take a class about the ecosystem. We just know. Yes. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Even whether it's racial equality or accepting other people as they are.
Correct.
When you remove that negative energy, we see that the majority of soul's essence, as you remove that negative energy from their essence or soul, they all have this perception that we're all connected and we're all kind of alike.
Yes, and that there is an innate need to, I'll put it this way, an innate need to survive, but this ecosystem that each one of us has, and then when we go into nature has, where do we belong as our ecosystem in that piece of nature?
Yes. And
that sort of thing. I'm just giving an example. Yes. And a lot of people take it for granted. Oh, that's great. The Half Dome at Yosemite. Oh man, that's just beautiful. And then that's it. There's no more understanding or to it. And what I'm getting at is that Half Dome is an ecosystem that has been standing for thousands of years,
and it has an energy to it.
And exactly,
it talks.
Exactly right.
I think in the future we're going to do more shows about having the natural world talk to us, as opposed to having a scientific approach to the natural world. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but it actually that can dull your perceptions and your intuition.
Well, I'm just going to back up and say, I remember when I was a kid, it was okay to throw paper and bottles. There wasn't plastic at the time. It didn't matter. The rule was it didn't matter if you threw things down on the ground and walked away. Well, today, if you dared do something like that, there would be 10 people around you real soon saying, pick it up,
But
whatever it is.
here's the key difference. And let's start
Okay.
the next one.
All right. So, well, thank you. I didn't even realize this. Is there a third perspective for greater agreement, Jason?
As intuitives, we say that at the core of our existence, our soul or essence, we call it essence,
Yes.
is covered with negative energy.
Yes.
That negative energy comes from the inability to see or perceive subtle energy, positive or negative, and that energy covers and distorts perceptions of reality.
Yes.
Perceptions of themselves, perceptions of others,
Right.
and how to live in a way that is healthy for ourselves and others.
Right.
When negative energy is removed, the perceptions are different. Instead of programming people about God or about the environment or about racial equality or a host of other issues,
Okay.
if we were focused on removing the negative energy, then there would be an understanding of the connection of that all humans have with each other, and we could have a creativity about solving collective problems.
Exactly.
I think when we remove that negative energy, there's also an understanding that we're all kind of related.
Yes.
And as a result, it's like we live in a small town here in California, just outside of Yosemite.
Yes.
And if we went to the Bay Area, for example, where we're from, and we said, "Oh, you're from that same place," there would be a connection automatically.
Correct. And that's what you're talking about.
We see the same thing with our essence, with the root of our existence. When you remove that negative energy, and even though someone's may be a different gender, a different color, a different may look weird to you in some way, may look different,
or you think
have a handicap, or
that's correct.
But you see past that, and you see to their essence,
the essence of who they are,
and it's hard to have the same approach.
Yes,
bigotry is a form of programming, and so we're trying to just change the program. That doesn't work.
Yes,
that doesn't work. You don't just change the program. You allow people to be human.
Yes.
And
not machines.
Not machines.
That's
and
correct.
That's the third perspective where this could bring this all about.
Right. So, Jason, then what is true wisdom?
True wisdom comes from your essence or soul, that has a large amount of negative energy removed. Our essence is our source of our own innate wisdom.
Right.
But when it's covered in negative energy, and we've done shows about this, but we come into this life with almost 80% of it covered with negative energy.
That's a lot of percentage.
A lot of percentage, and it really distorts our perceptions. This wisdom comes from the non-physical dimension. That is where flashes of brilliance, inspiration, new technology, and ideas for social betterment. The conduit for this inspiration and brilliance is the intuitive channel that is blocked by negative energy. So our intuition, we call it refined intuition. It's like if you're a computer geek, you know that fiber optics, for example, has a lot more bandwidth. It carries a lot more information than copper used to, or other materials. When you start removing negative energy from your essence, your bandwidth gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Exactly.
And also your ability to assess what comes through that channel. To say, oh, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
He said this, but that doesn't make any sense at all.
At all. Exactly.
Not that you have to fact check it. Not that you have to go Google it or whatever. You just kind of know.
Yes.
And in this political season, we saw there was so much stuff being said that we just knew that doesn't feel right. That's not right.
None of it felt right. So then let me ask this last question here. What can I do to make the world better?
a collective focus on removing negative energy, starting with yourself.
There it is.
Yourself is the key to real change in the world. So if you're upset about the what happened with this election, the best thing that you could do is not focus on what's going to happen in the world, but to focus on you and to say, I need to make myself better.
Yes.
And
yes.
That's the real key to change in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so much about the collective action, but the real change for the Age of Aquarius, for greater democracy and personal freedom, comes from individual evolution. And when there is a critical mass of people who have reached a level of evolution, then the hope and the promise for the Age of Aquarius can be fulfilled. That's really exciting to me.
I love that. Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
The promise of the Age of Aquarius, which is greater democracy and more personal freedom, but it seems like we're going in the opposite direction. There are people whose beliefs seem to be completely at odds with each other, with no hope of resolution. However, there is a third perspective where an individual removes negative energy that blocks essence or soul. As intuitives, we see that the soul, unburdened by negative energy, naturally cares for its environment, sees other from their perspective of their character, not their racial identity or any other physical characteristic that where we've been programmed to believe isn't positive or whatever. These souls free of negative energy perceive the connection for all human beings.
Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to show you how to remove negative energy so you can be part of the positive changes in the Age of Aquarius. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to show you how to remove negative energy so you can be part of the positive changes in the Age of Aquarius. So this is where I'm handing it back to Jason, and go for it.
Remember, we talked about in today's show that personal evolution comes from removing that negative energy. Yes. Refined intuition comes from removing that negative energy. Yes. Think of it as a clogged pipe.
Yes.
And removing negative energy is opening up that pipe. Exactly. And things flow and you get
information. Yes. Information comes in, and you also get to, the thing that I like about the ecosystem approach is you get to choose how to deal with these new ways or new energies that are coming your way.
Well, exactly. And, I just want to say this real briefly. We see that there's a lot of people that are intuitive, psychic, yes, mediums, that sort of thing, but they have a very narrow area of expertise.
Correct.
And as we continue to remove negative energy from ourselves, we see that we do it all. Talk to pets. We're mediums, talking to people that have passed.
Yes.
We're able to see the big picture. Both of us have different perspectives.
Yes.
But we always see it in the same way at some point.
Yes.
I've got a more big picture perspective. She has a more detailed perspective.
Correct.
It just it works. It works for us, and it works.
Yes. I agree.
And the more we remove negative energy, the better that gets. So,
all right.
So start your own intuition right now by doing this. So basically, you can sit. Your posture when you're clearing can be anything.
Yes.
And you can be sitting, standing, laying down, walking. Mm-hmm. We're hyper people, so we're always doing something else at the same time.
Usually, yes.
Whether it's taking a shower, making a meal.
Yes.
I'm going for a walk.
And I don't know if I've ever said this before on the air anyway, but I am definitely the cook in this house, and I always put very positive energy into the food in which I'm making.
Well, and if you're clearing while you're making a meal, you're taking all the negative energy away.
That's correct.
It makes a huge difference
in the taste and even the
Yes,
presentation.
we should do a show about that.
We should,
Yeah.
by all means.
So,
okay, Jason. So
when we say to eliminate, the verbiage, we're going to do the verbiage, and you just do that, and then every single time we don't say the whole thing every single time. We shorten it up and just pick it up in your mind's eye, in your imagination,
and
throw it into that processor. That processor exists in the non-physical dimension. It goes in the top. If you need it to be bigger, just make it bigger in your imagination.
Yes, exactly.
It processes that negative energy and comes out the front, and it's neutral. It's still energy, but it's neutral.
Exactly. And that makes a difference. So, Jason,
you want to talk about activating?
Oh, and then we're going to, at little in a minute or two after we finish the clearings, we're going to activate life force. Life force energy is the most powerful energy that any of us has access to. We're going to continue to remove negative energy with it, but we're also going to infuse our bodies with that life force energy. So, Jason?
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that negative energy blocks my intuition and my personal evolution. Take a breath. Blow it into that processor.
Throw away those veils and illusions. All right. And we're going to continue on. We're going to shorten it up a little bit. It goes like this. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that the election results are part of the learning process that happens in the beginning of an energy age where the populace as a whole is learning how to best choose their leaders. Nice and easy. Take a breath. And blow out any negative energies. You don't need those negative energies. Jason?
And to eliminate the stress, anxiety, overwhelm that I have because of my lack of personal evolution that keeps me from using my essence in the best way for me. Take a breath.
And throw it away. Stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. By the way, stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, they're negative energies. We don't need them to make good decisions.
And they're usually the result of negative energies attached to you. So.
Exactly. So with that said, follow along and to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that the Age of Aquarius promises personal freedom and greater democracy, but requires personal evolution from me and a critical mass of people to have evolution. It's always possible to communicate with a person's essence, even if
No, that's not part of it.
So. Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
I release and let go everything that's keeping me from using the promises of the Age of Aquarius to make myself better. Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that our culture has promoted and elevated treating ourselves like machines and being programmed.
This is not acceptable anymore. Take a breath, everybody. Get rid of it.
It dumbs down your intuition. It dumbs down your intelligence. It dumbs down your perceptions.
Everything. Yes, exactly. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that programming happens on both sides of the political spectrum. And the best way to live is to remove negative energy so evolution can happen in whatever you're doing. Take a nice breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that natural leadership requires an evolved group of people to elevate the best leaders.
Nice and easy.
And I just want to say right now that if this says, oh my gosh, I want more of this, I want to do some more clearing.
Okay.
What you need to do is go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our newsletter. In that newsletter, you get a picture of the processor. All the words are written out for you.
Yes.
And the clearings are written out for you. They're right there. So you can put them on your phone and do them because the more you do the clearings, the more energy you remove. So if you do the same clearing 50 times, 100 times,
It's okay.
1,000 times,
It's okay.
it still removes negative energy.
And think about it. We all came here with a purpose. What if the possibility of your purpose is being blocked with negative energy? And by the way, I would say that that's about 99.999% of people. We don't want this energy blocked. We want our true essence to come forward and do what we came here to do. This is part of the Age of Aquarius.
Yes.
So,
and to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that natural leadership requires an evolved group of people to elevate the best leaders. It's not just about the leader, it's about the people that are
that's right.
Elevating.
Take a breath and blow out the negative energy. And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that only through collective evolution can the true promise of the Age of Aquarius come to the masses. It's one of the reasons we're all here right now, everyone. Take a breath and throw it out.
And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that the best thing I can do for my personal well-being after this election is to pursue my own personal evolution by using the ecosystem approach.
Take a breath.
Go to our website right now and sign up.
Blow it out.
Yes.
Last clearing for the moment, and to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that pursuing my personal evolution, I can see that it is the way to preserve my personal power for my life using the ecosystem approach. Nice and easy. And blow it out. So let's activate some life force energy.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Follow along, everyone. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can have clarity and courage and confidence to, by the way, that's already within, to see that my evolution is going to help me remove negative energy so I can have better clarity, courage, and confidence every single day, starting right now. Activate that life force. Let it come right in through the top of your head, go to the tips of your toes. You're going to stop it. You're going to ask it to turn around right now. Come back up your body and still remove more negative energy right now. Blow it out. Jason?
So, and to activate life force so I can have hope for myself and my world by pursuing my personal evolution.
Yes.
And removing the negative energy from my essence.
So pull it in and blow out any negative energy left over. And to activate life force so I can trust that removing negative energy from my essence, I can then have evolution and a better life. Nice and easy. Pull it in and blow it out. Jason.
And to activate life force so I can decide right now to see the world and my life from a broad perspective using evolution.
Take a breath and blow out any negative energy left over. Last one, and to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy and have laughter and love and fun and joy and the clarity and the courage to see and know not only who I am, get rid of what I don't like about myself, but keep what I do like so I can not only help myself, but the rest of the world. Pull it in and blow it out.
So if this speaks to you, if you think, oh my gosh, this is what I need, this is what you do, go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org, sign up for a free section,
Yes.
Go to our YouTube channel, The Ecosystem Approach,
Yeah.
and subscribe. Go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org,
Right.
and you can view us there, you can write comments, you can leave comments there. We'd love to hear from you. So
yes, exactly. We'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.